Welcome to CivilNet. My guest is Ilona Ter-Minasyan. She is the head of office of the IOM, the International Organization for Migration. Ilona, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
Today is December 18. It's International Migrants Day. The UN General Assembly in 2000 proclaimed December 18 as International Migrants Day due to the growing number of migrants around the world. Today it's 2014. We live in a country that faces migration issues, in-migration, out-migration, and primarily out-migration to the countries of the European Union or to European countries. What is the significance of this day, and what do we hope, what is the message that we hope to give?
Well, it's an important day, and the issue of migration management is having more and more importance in nowadays. It's quite interesting to note that people started to move more, and people will continue to move more. So it is extremely important to realize that these people have rights, and these rights have to be properly protected. And no matter of their status, if they are regular in the country of destination or they are irregular, they still have to enjoy their rights. And this is very, very important message. And nowadays, with so many crises happening which cause population movement, it's very, very important not to forget about it.
You know, we say these numbers, and I don't know how accurate they are, that after Armenia became independent in 1991, close to 1 million people have left the country. I don't know if there are any percentages to know today, for example, if we look at Europe, what is the percentage of irregular Armenian migrants there? Do we know, do we have numbers?
Of course, it's very difficult to talk about irregular migrants because this is, this number is very difficult to identify and to assess, because in most of the cases, these people would prefer not to approach authorities, not to be visible, and that makes them even more vulnerable, and that makes the simple assessment quite complicated. However, we can try to estimate, of course, and our organization has done an assessment, household assessment in mid-2013. That was joint effort of several organizations. I must say that it was also coordinated effort with the Armenian government, because they also supported the assessment with certain funds. And this assessment showed that approximately of all our outflows, and we know that Armenia continues to be an immigration country, approximately 25,000 people leave the country annually. And we talk about from a period of time from 2007 to 2013. So these 5 years. Yeah.
We hear higher numbers though.
Yes, we are. Yeah, the numbers are, high, but it's also very important to understand why it is so. What is the push factor for people to, leave the country and look for,
Are those the elements that you look at as well? I mean, you're not only looking at it from the point of view that once they arrive in the destination country, what are their rights and what are their problems, but you're also looking at why people are feeling the need to move, to leave the country.
Yes, of course. It's extremely important to understand what makes people to leave the country. And the biggest problem, of course, is unemployment and opportunities to look for the job abroad.
Okay. Ilona, we talk about this often, where 10, 15, 20 years ago, if the push factor was economic, oftentimes we're seeing that middle class, upwardly mobile, younger generation who's highly educated, is marketable with their knowledge and talents and skills. They are the ones leaving, not because they don't have jobs, but because they say, I mean, this is all anecdotal, I have no hard evidence, lack of justice, lack of, rule of law. Are these things also now coming up? Whatever I'm saying now, it's based on the replies which were received from the households.
So we really need to have evidence in order to be able to talk about, you know, what are the reasons, etc. And evidence shows us that more than 60% of those who left the country were unemployed in the country. And it is known that migrants are usually not the most vulnerable, not the poorest ones. Because in order to leave, you still need to have something, yeah? So very often people who have a job, they also try to leave. Why? Very often when we talk with migrants, because we do also assist people and you have a chance, you know, to talk with these people and understand, you know, what the reasons are, they would mention that, for example, the job they have, it's low paid, but it's what is most important, that it's quite unstable. So they don't have guarantees. So very often for them, it's much more preferable to go to Russian Federation and work there for, I don't know, 10 months, 12 months, rather than just to stay here and think every month, okay, is my contract extended? Will I have job tomorrow? So people wait, you know, and they also consider, okay, is it better to start business, or maybe I will still have a job again, maybe in Russian Federation or somewhere else, which is a bit lower paid, but you know, I'm guaranteed. I have less troubles, I have guaranteed amount of pay I will be receiving. So stability, you know, in terms of employment is very, very important for people when they consider migration project. And that came out very, very clearly out of this assessment which we have done, that the main reason is socioeconomic.
Okay, so as an organization that deals with migrants, while you do look at the push factors, the reasons why people are leaving, that is not part of your mandate to fix the problems in the country, right? So now, do you assist migrants? You know, in recent years, we've also seen a lot of sort of public service announcements informing people, you know, of the risks involved with irregular migrants. How has that project been? Have you been seeing any positive results as
it's very important. Awareness raising and giving out the information is extremely important. And you know, very often people approach myself, my staff, very educated people. And often they will say, well, you know, I'm considering job opportunity in Germany. And when you ask the person, they say, well, I'm dentist, I'm doctor. So you would think that it's highly unrealistic that Armenian doctor is being offered a job in Germany.
Yeah, can he even practice, or she practice without being licensed?
Exactly. So you immediately ask, okay, did you check your job opportunity? Person would often say, well, it was on TV. So the message usually would be, please check as many details as possible before you undertake any move, you know. Before you start, you know, looking for, I don't know, tickets, selling your apartment, etc., etc.
Yeah, burning all your bridges before you actually have all the information that you need. Of course.
We have more and more people even approaching us and telling us, okay, I have an offer in China. You know, do you know how I can track it? And we really try to, you know, support and give this message that anything that, you know, what does not even sound to you suspicious, please still check these details.
So are there continuing risks of human trafficking from Armenia?
Yes, of course.
Primarily women, or doesn't matter?
You know, the labor trafficking is very much still unknown area for us.
Unknown?
Unknown, meaning that it's still difficult to assess the size, because most of our immigration flows are towards Russian Federation, and people work there, they have intention to work there. So we understand, you know, certain volume of people which are traveling to Russian Federation with the purpose to work. So again, employment is a major factor.
Right, but as labor migrants, are their rights being abused? Are they in a high risk for abuse by employers? Are their passports being taken from them? Have you been seeing these kinds of trends?
Of course, there are cases, but it's very difficult since, it's very important to monitor and have, again, very solid evidence to talk about this either taking place or not. But what we believe the risks are there. And the problem is that very, very often labor migrants themselves, they do not realize that something went wrong, So very often people consider, okay, I've been offered maybe $1,000, but when I arrived and started to work, I've been informed that, 1,000 is not realistic, maybe I will be getting 8,000 or 800 drams, rubles or dollars, etc. So they might not realize that, there are problems there. So it's also, again, very, very important to inform people what has to be done and what does not have to be done. I mean, what are really things which should not happen under any circumstances.
So, I mean, as always, awareness is the key to prevent a potential migrant from falling into any kind of trouble. We have also seen labor migration to Turkey as well. We spoke with an expert a few months back from Turkey who said that most of the labor migrants in Turkey are women, domestic workers, again, very little protection because they all try to work under the radar. There are some men, but the proportion of women is much greater. Have you seen any specific problems there as well?
These are exactly problems which you just named. Again, awareness is very important, but what I also wanted to stress that availability of the mechanisms for protection are also very important.
And it depends on the country that they go to.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yes, of course. It's extremely important. And again, availability of Armenian consular representations, Armenian embassies abroad, is extremely important. And Armenia is a small country, not being able to have embassies and consulates in each and every location. I'll come to Turkey, but for example, what's very important in case of Russian Federation, country is huge. And Armenia has embassy in Moscow and
consulate in St. Petersburg.
And also, south part of Russian Federation. What if migrant has problem somewhere in Siberia?
Which a lot of them go to, where a lot of them go to.
Of course. Working, again, construction sector, etc., etc. What if something happens with the travel documents? Yeah, so it's very difficult to reach out to the consular services in such countries. And Turkey is even more problematic since we don't even have any representation there. So for the migrant who is in trouble, it's very, very important that it's very, very difficult to rely to any other external assistance. They're also not very willing to approach local police because, again, low trust and always the fear to be deported, to lose a job, etc., etc. So it all sums up, and it can eventually become a real problem. So in case of Turkey, of course, again, it's very difficult to speak numbers. We don't know. Yeah, yes, we know anecdotal situations where, yes, we know that women mostly work there, elderly care, children, etc., etc. It's very difficult for them to be regular in the country, to maintain their status and receive work permits, etc. Turkey currently is undergoing quite a significant change of their immigration legislation. So it's very, very, I mean, for any Armenian there, especially if people live enter the country with short-term visas, to extend, to stay regular, etc. And in case of trouble, there is nowhere
to go for help.
Yes,
it's a huge job you have, and when we're talking about it and we're looking at sort of the geography, it's incredible.
The organization is very big. We have more than 400 locations, and I find the advantage of the organization that it's extremely horizontal. So we don't have, there is no need for us, for example, in order to approach any mission, for example, in Africa, to go through regional offices, etc. So we very much are able to, you know, work across the continent, just reaching out to most of the colleagues which are in need in any of the locations. So it gives you opportunity to, you know, help as quickly as possible. Of course, it would be much better often to have much more funds, because sometimes people approach us and you really understand that yes, indeed, you need to have to, you know, just simply to have person to leave the country or something like that. But very often we simply don't, especially at the end of the year when, you know,
sure.
a lot of the funding is gone. So there is a lot of work with the member states done by the headquarters, really to put the issues on the table and to be able to advocate for, you know, maybe certain population groups, maybe certain needs where really, you know, the organization needs just simply to offer this help and to be able to, you know, assist in difficult situations. Nowadays, the discussion, which is extremely important, is integration of migration and development nexus into post-2015 development agenda. That's something of big importance because, again, as a global priority, yeah, people would argue, you know, how important migration is. It's not a huge percentage of people who are migrants. It's much lower percentage of those who are, you know, refugees, you know, and asylum seekers. Okay, to what extent this is an issue which requires global attention? So, big task for the organization was to really to attract the attention of the member states to many problems, and really to try to, you know, focus and insert certain languages into this development agenda so that in 2-3 year time we are able to talk about hopefully some projects which are being implemented, especially in the areas which require assistance, and migration and development, this is something what becomes more and more important.
Well, Ilona, thank you. You have a huge task ahead of you as the head of office of the IOM here in Armenia. And today being International Migrants Day, perhaps we do take some time to reflect on the needs and the human rights of those people who do oftentimes, while even being irregular migrants, do contribute to the societies and the destination countries that they end up in. So, and hopefully to eradicate those push factors in our own country that are sort of contributing to the outflow of our own citizens here in the country. So thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. It was a very important opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to remind our viewers that my guest was Ilona Ter-Minasyan. She is the head of office of the IOM. Today is December 18, International Migrants Day. Stay with CivilNet.